back to FlexCandle, where we read the candles and flex the moves. I'm Flex, and today we're diving into a full top-down analysis on Bitcoin, Cardano, XRP, Ethereum, and gold. We're going to start from the higher time frames, work our way down to the lower time frames, and check to see if we find any good setups. Now remember, this is not financial advice and I'm not a financial advisor. All right guys, starting off here with Bitcoin. Currently is 4:12 p.m. Eastern time. The price of Bitcoin is at 107,083. Been having some up and downs today. So far with the weekly, we still have the green engulfing candle. We still have 2 days and 4 hours before this candle does close. The 21-day moving average is pretty much at 95k now. We do see some bearish divergence and the stochastics are toppy. We head over to the 3-day chart. We see that the stochastics are starting to curve back up. We are above the 21 moving average. We did close the last 3-day candle green, so this is a positive, and the 21 moving average is at 104,169. Heading over to the 1-day chart, so now the stochastics are starting to get a little toppy. Of course, we could drag like we did over here, but we have to start getting weary that we could start falling down. We did close above the 21 moving average, but it was with a bearish red hammer candle. Today we're getting indecisive. We still have 3 hours and 45 minutes before this candle closes. It's not looking too great on the 1-day chart. We head over to the 8-hour chart. Stochastics are toppy. We are above all the moving averages, but we're kind of far away from the 21, which is at 104,795. Now the 4-hour chart is what's interesting. The stochastics are low. We are above the 200 and we were above the 21 moving average. We've been riding it. Right now we're kind of below it, but the 21 moving average did touch price. So with the low stochastics, it's possible that we could start going up. Even though we're kind of losing the 21, maybe we'll go to the 200, which is at 105,833, and maybe possibly bounce up from there. Once again, if we lose a 200 moving average, I have to start getting bearish when it comes to the 4-hour chart and Bitcoin overall. So overall on Bitcoin, I still feel like we are going to make it possibly to 110. I have this bigger flag here, which does break us out to about 110,500, and within this flag that already broke out, I have this other flag that has been forming on the 4-hour, and this one also does take us to approximately the same price, which is 110. So that's what I'm expecting. But we do lose the 200 moving average, then I could see us going all the way back down to 104k, 103k for support. We lose that, then it's 100k. We lose that, we're going back into the 90s. All right, let's head over to Ethereum. Now, when it comes to the altcoins, they're all pretty much the same as last week, so I'm not going through everything. Just going over the weekly, the daily, and the 4-hour. On the weekly, we're losing the 200, and we're trying to get support here on the 21, but the stochastics are high. Looks like we could fall down. On the daily, we are below the 200 and the 21. This still kind of looks like a flaggish pattern, but unless we get above this 200 moving average, I have to stay bearish. We do have a chance since the stochastics are still on the way up. On the 4-hour chart, this could be an inverted head and shoulder getting created, like a complex one, so we might still have to squiggle around here for a little bit. Stochastics are low, but they're dropping over here, so we might have to wait for this to reset. So unless we regain the 200 moving average on the 4-hour on all these altcoins, I have to stay bearish. When it comes to Cardano, it's pretty much the same thing. We're below the 200 and the 21 on the weekly. Stochastics look to go down. On the daily, stochastics look to go on the way up, but I'm starting to see a little curvature here. And again, we're below the 200, the 21, and also on the 4-hour. Again, this kind of gives me the vibes that this could be an inverted head and shoulders. The stochastics are low. We might have to drag here a little bit, but unless we get above 65 cents, which is where the 200 moving average is, I still have to remain bearish on Cardano. On XRP, we went down. I saw like $1.92 or something like that, and right now we're at 2010 cents, which is better. The other day we were at 2020 cents. It looks like we're playing that range between $2 and $2.30. We are above the 200, so that's bullish, but we're below the 21 on the weekly. This could be a double bottom, so let's look out for that as this weekly resets here. On the daily chart, stochastics are getting toppy. We lost a 21, so that's bearish. Again, I'm getting an inverted head and shoulder vibe, but we might be here a couple of days, maybe a few weeks. On the 4-hour chart, everything's giving me this inverted head and shoulder vibes here. Stochastics are low, but we are below the 4-hour 221 moving average. So on XRP, Cardano, Ethereum, or any altcoin, unless Bitcoin does a drastic move, I don't expect them to go up, and we do need to regain, at least on the 4-hour, the 200 moving average. Now when it comes to gold, you guys know I have this on a flag here, and so far we've been tracing it. We broke out, we came back in. The 21 moving average is not too far, it's at 3,155. The price of gold right now is 3,277. The stochastics are starting to get reset, so we might get a move up, but I don't expect a gigantic move up unless we have some really bad like war news or something like that going on, or some financial news where there's a lot of inflation or something like that. The 1-day chart still has to reset. We're getting back into the pattern. We lost the 21. It looks like we might be making it to the 80 moving average, which is at 3,217. And now on the 4-hour chart, we are below the 21 and the 200. Stochastics are starting to reset. Pretty much the same as the altcoins. Unless we could get above the 200 or the 21 moving average here on the 4-hour, I do not expect more upside. All right, guys, so that's the breakdown. If this gave you clarity or a setup to watch, do me a favor, like, drop a comment, subscribe. And if you have a stock or crypto you want me to go over, drop it in the comment section. This is FlexCandle, where we read the candles and flex the moves. Catch you on the next chart.